How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Half-time between Bangladesh and New Zealand at Rawalpindi, and Bangladesh, after being put into bat, have laboured their way to 236. It's the kind of score that, well, it's not like we don't expect it from Bangladesh. We'd like to see more, we'd like to see better, but New Zealand just looking so efficient with ball and in the field. We look back at the highs and lows of that innings and that game so far on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday. We'll hear from Dale Steyn and Shane Bond shortly. Before that, Wasim Jaffer with me in studio. Sum up that innings, Wasim.
Well, I think they had a decent start. I thought, Tanzid always gets a start, but it kind of throws it away. We've seen that very often. Shanto looked good. He kind of carried that inning, but the middle order actually, was disappointing. The wicket was really good. I personally feel they are close to 50 to 60 runs short. Should have been close to 300 or more.
Or close to 280, like you pointed out in the pre-show.
Yeah, and definitely. Yeah. So I think, all in all, the pitch didn't have much. I thought Bracewell bowled well, but obviously the batters allowed him.
That's the opposite of what happened in the India game, where the middle order actually bailed them out. So, Bangladesh story always some parts working, some parts not working. Is it fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. And some loose shots played by some senior men who you expect to come good in a must-win game. They'll be disappointed with this effort.
All right, let's get the fast men in on the conversation. Pretty sure that Dale Steyn and Shane Bond wouldn't be required at Rawalpindi because Michael Bracewell would have outbowled all of you, Bondi. 4 for 28. I think Ian Smith couldn't believe it when he was getting one wicket after the next. That's his best ODI figures, 4 for 26.
Yeah, he's a good cricketer, Michael Bracewell, and he's got very good record both in T20s and ODI cricket, and he's one of those players. Bats, bowls, fields, because it gives excellent balance, and he's got a very good RPO, so he exhibits that level of control. He doesn't turn the ball massively, but he doesn't bowl many bad balls too, and he's been a real bonus for New Zealand in this tournament so far.
It's the New Zealand story, Dale, isn't it? No matter what the opposition does, they just do their thing. They take their catches, they inflict run-outs, they don't bowl badly, just peak New Zealand.
Yeah, that's what you expect from New Zealand. I mean, I think we've mentioned this before many times when we've spoken about New Zealand in like trophy tournaments. They do all the right things. Their fielding is really good. They keep their foot behind the line. There's hardly any extras. They take their catches. They bowl well. Everything. They just make sure that they tick all the basic boxes that you are asking of your players. They don't do them extraordinarily differently. They just do them extraordinarily well. And at the end of the day, it all adds up and it builds pressure. And we see Bangladesh today just not being able to go anywhere because of that kind of pressure. And that's a typical New Zealand performance right there. It's fantastic to watch.
Yeah, it's nice, Dale, that it's been a decade now since Auckland 2015, and you can say all this about New Zealand with absolutely no heartbreak or heartache.
I wouldn't say that I don't still shed a tear every now and then, Ronak.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
Good man. All right, let's talk about what worked in that innings. Let's talk about Rawalpindi as a surface, because big game tomorrow also at this ground, Australia, South Africa, and we've known whatever evidence we have that it's a high-scoring surface. Did you see anything in this pitch that suggests that it might be challenging or is 236 well below par, as you maintained in your opening comments?
No, I think it's well below par. It looked a very good pitch. There's not much pace for the faster bowlers. We didn't see much spin as well. So I think it's definitely more than 300 or even more, 325 to even more if the batters bat properly. I don't think there was much for the bowlers unless you committed mistakes.
I think the conversation on Bangladesh for all of us who tune into their cricket in major tournaments and maybe catch a little bit of it in between is, why don't their big players dominate the big tournaments, or at least sort of leave their mark on big tournaments? And Mushfiqur Rahim's been around a long time. Mehmudullah was back in the team today. There's no Saqib in this team, and we understand whatever challenges they might have administratively. But is that something, Bangladesh cricket quite well, you've worked with the A team in the under-19s. Is that a fair sentiment that the big players, even after all these years, don't deliver when needed?
Yeah, I mean, that's been the case. We've only seen probably Shaki with that 2019 World Cup where, he was a standout player. But I don't know if it's the pressure that gets to them or they put too much pressure on themselves. They just don't turn up. Even the short selection we've seen today, was very disappointing. Mushfiq playing that shot, Mahmudullah playing that wild shot, and this is a must-win game, like I said. You want them to step up in these kind of games and make themselves count. So that's been the story in the ICC events, unfortunately.
Yeah, Bondi, if you were head coach of this Bangladesh team and you saw that batting effort after what you saw against India as well, what would be your emotions and sort of thoughts?
I think you'd always inside be a bit grumpy, wouldn't you? I think it's that's the natural inclination as a coach to feel that way. But as you said, if you start talking about what you shouldn't do and let emotion pour out as a coach, it's a dangerous place to go. So you're still trying to create an environment where you want guys to come out and play positively. You want them to be really clear about how you're going to play. And at the end of the day, if they go out and try to execute their game plans and play the way that you want and they lose, then that's okay. If they don't, then it makes it very difficult. So that's what you're looking for as a player. This is how the coach wants me to play, my role in the team. If I go out and do that to the best of my ability, then it's okay. Some days it's not going to work, and we're not a fly on the wall in the Bangladesh camp.
Yep.
So we don't know what those conversations are, and it's difficult to make judgments on that stuff.
Yeah, when you say that, the game plan of batting 50 overs, it's great to actually have both of you as fast bowlers looking at it. Dale, is it fair to say now with 8 teams that we've seen in the tournament, you're seeing 5 of them at least with India, England, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, just take to the 50 overs game easily. The gulf seems to be quite striking with, say, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and maybe even Afghanistan, where there's almost an inability to, or a lack of a game plan to get to a competitive ODI score?
Yeah, it's a little sad, especially with a team like, say, Bangladesh, because they've been around now. They've actually played a lot of ODI cricket. So you would feel like by now they've started to kind of work out the recipe as to how ODI cricket should be played. Afghanistan, I can understand. They're kind of new into the system. They've been around a little bit, and they've got some incredible players that can do incredible things. But that they're just not used to that longevity just yet, and that's purely because they haven't played a lot of test matches and they just don't know how to bat that or play that lengthy game. But Bangladesh, on the other hand, and even Pakistan to an extent, from what we saw yesterday, it's a little sad to see how they're not quite sure what their recipe is for how to go about batting 50 overs or how to score the runs. It's almost like, let's just bat our 50 overs and see what we get. And what they get is a way below average score, like a 236. They need 20 to, 30% better than that right now.
Yeah, let's ask the batting coach also, because some of the wickets, you can't say Bracewell, due respect to him, he kept it simple. It wasn't like he's bowling unplayable balls, and they seemed very keen to take him down. It almost looked a little bit amateurish, some of the wickets that we saw in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the problem. In the middle overs, you need to make the game. You can't afford to keep losing wickets and then expect to score in the excess of 280, 300. And that's a mistake they made. They played some very high risk, took high risk option and succumbed to it. Even Shanto, the stage that he got out, if he had batted another 5-7 overs, they could have easily reached 260, 270. So yeah, the short selection, you want them to play positively, but you can't play such a high risk game, especially in that middle overs.
All right, report card, Shane Bond on New Zealand's bowling outside of Michael Bracewell. Kyle Jamieson back into New Zealand playing 11 after a while. How did he go? How did the rest of the bowling go?
Yeah, New Zealand are pleased to get Jamieson back in. I think it shows the confidence in the squad to bring a guy in who hasn't been playing for 2 years international cricket to put him in a game like this, which New Zealand know they have to win with India following up. So I think they like the balance of Jamieson taking the new ball, swinging the ball both ways, and then the pace of O'Rourke to follow, perhaps with some fielders out. I thought New Zealand were disciplined. They did a good job. They'd like to tidy up their seamers, perhaps 1 or 2 balls and over in the last 5 or 6 overs. But all in all, it was a pretty disciplined performance. And as I say, with Phillips and Ravindra in there, they've got that 6th, 7th bowling option that allows them some flexibility, particularly at the back end.
All right, let's look ahead to the chase, shall we? Is there any chance that we could see Bangladesh make a game out of this? Well, it seems a little unlikely given the record that New Zealand's batters enjoy against Bangladesh. Well, they're just licking their lips to get in with a below par score to get, with Will Young, Devon Conway, Kane Williamson, Tom Latham, all averaging in excess of 50. They'll be happy that Daryl Mitchell isn't playing because he hasn't even been dismissed in 3 innings with 150 and 100 against Bangladesh. So all evidence suggests that batters will find this chase more than doable, Wasim?
Yeah, the wicket probably underlies, will you'll expect them to improve. Naid Rana is something who's exciting. He's the only one I'm looking forward to, bowl somebody who would excess of 150 or close to 150. Other than that, I don't see much hiccups from New Zealand end.
Any evidence, Dale, to suggest that Bangladesh can make a game of it? Naid Rana's one to look out for. I think we were all impressed with how he bowled in the tests in Pakistan.
I mean, look, cricket's a strange game, but I just think that New Zealand, we saw these numbers right now. Those batters are all licking their lips to get out there and bat, to be honest with you. And I think the odds are against Bangladesh now a little bit too. If there's going to be some a low score, they've got to take wickets. And that means that you kind of got to go a little bit more aggressive. And we saw somebody like Shaheen Shah Afridi try that last night and go for a lot of runs. And if that happens, the score is going to get ticked off pretty quickly.
Yeah. Rachin at 4, as you maintained on our pre-show. Bondi, is there anything else New Zealand would like to just take off in what we expect to be at least a straightforward chase?
I don't think so. I think they'll just have to weather that early 10 overs. I think they'll be reasonably circumspect and understand if they get through that, the wicket should just get better. There's a little bit of uneven bounce. They'll be hoping there's no turn. I mean, even, Mustafa Zur is always awkward if there's a little bit of turn, but you'd think if New Zealand get through the first 10 overs with limited damage, that they should walk this home.
New Zealand don't play in a way where they want to finish it off so that all the cricket-loving public back home watching this game, Bondi, can get to bed early. I'm not speaking for you. You're going to be up all night.
I think there's that sometimes your ego can get in the way, can't it? That we have to come out and make a statement. I think New Zealand just have to win. And the only way Bangladesh can win is get early wickets. So New Zealand will recognise that. They'll be prepared to have a look at the wicket. They're really under no scoreboard pressure. They've got a long batting lineup, so I'd expect them to be reasonably circumspect.
I don't think, Dale, there's any team where ego goes like so far off than New Zealand. You don't associate New Zealand with ego at all.
No, zero. All wonderful guys, and all the kind of guys that you want in your team and are exceptionally good at what they do. Kane Williamson, amazing. Santner, these guys are they're incredible players, and yet we'll probably never talk about them in the same kind of ego or personality as we would of a David Warner or Virat Kohli.
Yep.
And yet when you look at their averages, there's much over much really to decide between them.
Yep, as simple as that. They're the good guys. Shane Bond's club. They're all good. Thank you very much, Bondi and Dale Steyn, Wasim Jaffer. We will pick up the chat at the end of the game. We expect it to be a straightforward chase for New Zealand, which will, of course, confirm their place in the semi-final, as also India's. Can Bangladesh make a game of it, though, and give us a bit of a surprise? We'll find out at the end of the game with the panel on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Matchday.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.